Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round. And who here loves space? Who here loves screaming in space? I'm, of course, talking about the 1979 classic directed by Ridley Scott, Alien, a movie that is arguably one of the best horror movies ever made and arguably one of the best science fiction movies ever made. There is absolutely no way to understate Alien's cultural significance in, just our zeitgeist for the last 45 years. And that's why I'm talking about it today, because Alien is officially now 45 years old as of time of release. Today is Alien's 45th anniversary of when it premiered. It had a limited release on May 25th, 1979. So, kind of like I did with The Mummy, and I'll even put a link to that one in the description, I thought it'd be fun to do another fun fact video. One fact for every year of release. So, here are 45 fun facts about Alien. Number 1. Screenwriter Dan O'Bannon's original script was called Star Beast, but he was never really satisfied with that title. Then when he was rereading the script, he realized just how many times the word alien appeared and thought that would make the perfect title because it works as both a noun and an adjective. Number 2. Ridley Scott claims that he was the 5th or 6th person they approached to direct the film, but to this day he won't name names on who the previous directors that turned it down were. Number 3. Ridley Scott has stated that his 3 biggest inspirations were the original Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 4. Originally, 20th Century Fox passed on the idea, and it wasn't until the success of the original Star Wars that they were eager to distribute another space movie. Number 5. Ash being an android wasn't part of the original script. It was one of the only changes that Dan O'Bannon was actually okay with, as he had been very protective of his script and didn't like anyone changing it. Number 6. When casting the role of Ripley, it came down to Sigourney Weaver and Meryl Streep. However, Streep was sadly mourning the recent death of her partner, John Cazale, who you will probably recognize as Fredo from The Godfather. Number 7. John Hurt originally had to decline the role of Kane because he was committed to making the film Zulu Dawn, which was filming in South Africa. However, a few strange circumstances, including him getting banned from the country for being mistaken for someone else, and the original actor cast as Kane, John Finch, getting sick, allowed him to take the part. Number 8. The concept of facehuggers laying their eggs in the chest was inspired by spider wasps, who do the same thing so that their larvae feast on the dead animal once they hatch. Number 9. Before casting Tom Skerritt as Captain Dallas, the role was originally offered to Harrison Ford, who turned it down, likely because he didn't want to be typecast playing a space captain. Number 10. The facehuggers were originally supposed to be painted green, but when Dan O'Bannon was visiting set one day, he saw the models and remarked at how creepy they looked with their flesh tones. He then insisted they remain that way in the final movie. Number 11. 20th Century Fox was so impressed with Ridley Scott's storyboards that they doubled the movie's budget from roughly $4 to $8 million. Number 12. The original script had a sex scene between Ridley and Captain Dallas, but Tom Skerritt argued that it didn't really add anything to the story, and so the idea was ultimately scrapped and never filmed. Number 13. H.R. Geiger, who designed the xenomorph look, was held up at U.S. Customs because they were so weirded out by the illustrations he was carrying with him. He claims he then had to explain to them that it was all just for a horror movie. Number 14. Visual effects master Brian Johnson was working on both Alien and Empire Strikes Back at the very same time. Number 15. Filming took place at Shepperton Studios in London from July to October of 1978, with the film then being released in May of 79. Number 16. According to Parker actor Yaphet Kotto, Ridley Scott told him to annoy Sigourney Weaver in between takes so that there would be a genuine tension between them. He later said he regretted doing this because Sigourney was such a nice person. Number 17.
In the original script, when the crew wakes up from hyperspace, they're all completely naked in their pods. This, however, was changed because the studio feared that the nudity, even though the movie was going to be rated R anyway, might get it banned in certain countries. They went so far as to have Sigourney Weaver and Veronica Cartwright wear white surgical tape over their nipples just in case their shirts were too see through. Number 18. Due to the confined nature of the spaceship set, much of the movie had to be shot handheld since larger dollies simply wouldn't fit. Number 19. In fact, the set was so small that mirrors were used in certain parts to make corridors appear much larger than they were. Number 20. The name of the villainous Weyland Yutani Corporation came from two neighbors that Ridley Scott once had and despised both of them. This was his way of honoring them. Number 21. While shooting the space jockey scene, the two astronauts you see in frame were actually played by Ridley Scott's young children. This was to make the space jockey scene that much larger. Number 22. The blue laser light that you see in the ship itself was actually borrowed from The Who, as they used it in many of their concerts at the time. Number 23. For the goo inside the alien eggs, real animal parts were used, including sheep intestine and cattle hearts sourced from local butcher shops. Number 24. The models for the ship had to constantly be repainted throughout filming because the alien slime was actually eating away at the acrylic paint. Number 25. Regarding the infamous chestburster scene, it is widely believed that the entire cast had no idea what was going on. Obviously, they knew the script. What they didn't know was that real animal guts and blood were going to be sprayed on them, explaining Veronica Cartwright's loud scream. Number 26. On the subject of that scene, it actually had to be done in two separate takes because in the first take, the model would not break through John Hurt's fake chest. However, some of that footage is still used in the beginning as the xenomorph is trying to get out. Number 27. Famous voice actor and animal impersonator Percy Edwards provided the howling screech you hear from the newborn xenomorph and reportedly did it in a single take. Number 28. Xenomorph performer Bolaji Badejo never ate lunch with or associated with the rest of the cast. This was in order to keep them more afraid and nervous around him. Number 29. It was Sigourney Weaver's idea for Ripley to mutter to herself the "You Are My Lucky Star" song made famous by Gene Kelly. Ridley Scott later remarked that he caught a lot of flack from the studio because of how much money they had to spend to license the song. Number 30. It was copywriter Barbara Gibbs who came up with the iconic tagline, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Number 31. In the end, the xenomorph is only on screen for about 4 minutes. Number 32. In many countries, the film was released with the title The Eighth Passenger or Alien The Eighth Passenger. Number 33. The original cut of the movie ran for over 3 hours and was much, much gorier. Much of the gore was removed in order to avoid an X rating. Number 34. David Lynch has always alleged that H.R. Geiger stole his xenomorph design from his disturbing 1977 movie Eraserhead. It led to a feud that even caused David Lynch to fire Geiger when he was hired to direct the adaptation of Dune in 1984. Number 35. While working on the movie's novelization, author Alan Dean Foster wasn't even allowed to see production images because they were so secretive and didn't want them to leak to the press. Number 36. Science fiction author A.E. Van Vogt filed a plagiarism lawsuit against 20th Century Fox, claiming that Alien was very similar to a 1939 short story he was written called Discord in Scarlet. The matter was settled out of court and the details never publicly disclosed. Number 37. Alien would go on to gross over $180 million, more than 20 times its original production budget. Number 38. Famed composer Jerry Goldsmith did the score for Alien. However, a lot of it was changed after he had done it, and he reportedly was not happy with the final product. Number 39. Alien would go on to win Oscars for Best Visual Effects and was nominated for Best Art Direction, but lost to All That Jazz. Number 40. Alien also took home 4 Saturn Awards for Best Science Fiction Movie, Best Actress for Sigourney Weaver, Best Supporting Actress for Veronica Cartwright, and Best Director for Ridley Scott. Number 41. While the movie is a beloved classic now, not every film critic was that big a fan of it, including ones like Leonard Maltin and Gene Siskel, who called it just a haunted house movie, but in space. Number 42. Alien was the very first R rated movie to have an accompanying toy line marketed to children. Number 43. The Xenomorph action figure received numerous parent complaints because of the way that its jaw would break way too easily. As a result, they were pulled from shelves, and now it's a rare collector's item. Number 44. The chest bursting scene was voted second in Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments. And finally, number 45. In 2019, students at North Bergen High School in New Jersey put on a stage adaptation of Alien. When Ridley Scott heard about it, he wrote them a letter congratulating them on their efforts and even donated to the school, which allowed them to put on an encore presentation. During said encore, none other than Sigourney Weaver was in attendance and came on stage before the show started to again congratulate the students.
Well, thanks for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments, which of those did you know already? Which one surprised you? Would love to hear from you guys. Which interesting facts did I miss that you know about? Please let me know down below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up stuck on a spaceship with an acid-bleeding, face-hugging, chest-bursting xenomorph. And of course, every day is Halloween.